Welcome back to my channel, everybody, and if you're new, welcome. Those of you who've returned, thank you, love you. I am going to, let's see, it's 1:46 in the morning, so you know what that means. Time to make a video, because I never get to bed before 6 a.m. So this little precariously bundled thing here that I've got going on that's going to fall any second. Basically, I'm going to let you know what I got coming up on videos for the first couple. I'm going to help you make these lovelies. As you can see, I am very much braceleted up, and these are the rubber band bracelets that I talked about on my first video. Well, not the space holder video, but the other video, the one I made last night. Basically, these are the ones that you make on the looms, and they are, let me get a little closer, they're basically joined in the back by a little clasp, but they're very, very stretchy. So even if they look small, they're not. They're great for kids. Very easy to make. These are the more advanced ones, but by advanced, they're by no means the hardest. And then there's even ones that I've found online. Sorry, I got a price tag on there. This is actually one that is like a cuff type bracelet. So this was one of the more difficult patterns. I went online and just searched for different patterns, and this is one I made a long time ago, and I never made another one. Guess why? One, it was really cool. Actually, I may have made a second one. I'm giving it to my daughter, but one, it was really cool, so I wanted to keep it as like my demo one to put out as a sample. But if I can put it all over all these other ones, you'll be able to see how wide it is. It's actually a very wide bracelet, and typically they're not this wide. This one is actually called a chainmail cuff. So I know it'll be over the other ones, but I'll put it further up my arm so you'll be able to see it. Move out of the way, cooperate. So anyway, today's video, I'm just basically going to show you guys all of the equipment that you basically use to make these type bracelets. So you'll know what to go get if you want to grab it before I actually start making these videos, or at least you'll know what's involved and whether or not it's for you. So you can see how wide this is. It's actually called a chainmail cuff, and it doesn't really show as well on the camera lighting because I have really crappy lighting right now, but this is actually silver. These bands in here, so they actually have a little bit of a shimmer to them, but it's a very wide cuff. So that is one that has a price tag. I'm going to take it off because it's going to be annoying. Out of the way. I just realized how loud the video was last night. Sorry. I kept clunking down like the bracelets and all the other stuff and the chokers. So anyway, here's your basic items. I have here a couple different type of looms. So these are what you're going to need to make your bracelets on. A lot of your kits, such as this one, which is the Monster Loom. I know it sounds crazy, but if you see down there in the bottom corner, it shows examples of different bracelets you can make with the Monster Loom. And then it also shows you what the Monster Loom looks like. And I do have one here. Now it's called the Monster Loom, but it's actually one of the smaller looms that you use to make different patterns. The key to the looms is your basic one is going to be this. Lots of pegs. Rubber bands go on there. You pick them on. You put them on in a certain pattern. You take them off in a certain pattern, and you have a bracelet. That's how it works. Just seriously, not trying to make it sound really easy, but it is. There's very simple patterns. There's more deluxe patterns. As you can see, I have little rainbow rings that I've even made, or not rainbow rings, but little flower rings in different rainbow colors. I've got some on this hand. I've got a couple on this hand. For those of you who noticed I'm missing a stone in this big pronged ring, it's because my birthstone fell out the other day and I was having a heart attack trying to find it, and thank whoever, I'm not going to particular religion here, yeah, it happened to be underneath the edge of my bed, underneath the bottom of the bed. How the heck it got there, I don't know. I'm just glad I found it. So I haven't put it back in yet because I'm probably going to have to run by the jeweler for that. So, but in the meantime, look at that cute little flower that I stuck in there. And these are all made with these same rubber bands. Nothing different. Everything I'm going to show you guys is made with these rubber bands. These little earphones, you can see they look like the little Beats headphones. The old school ones. They have some really cool new ones now, but those are another thing that can make. That actually has a wire in the middle of it. That's the only one I've ever had to add something into, just to get the shape to it, basically. But there's all kinds of patterns. People are making their own patterns. I'm not even joking that you go online and people are creating their own patterns, and you just basically, I I just realized something. Sorry. One moment. Please stand by. I don't know why this light has moved. I had my son here today, my little boy. So mayhaps he may have moved the light. I'm not sure. All I know is I'm not quite in the light like I was last night. I was like lit up for days last night. Give me a second. It's bugging me. It ain't perfect, but it'll work. Anyway, so basically, when you buy these kits, they come in boxes like this, and they'll have supplies. They'll come like, for instance, if you see the back of the Monster Loom, that has that yellow. And this actually was an upgrade here, because when you buy most of your regular looms, this is what you get to pick your rubber bands off. It's the hook. You use this to pluck the rubber bands and pull them over onto different pegs. These are fine, but this one that comes with the Monster Loom, that yellow handled one, which I have right here, it will come in some of your better kits, and if not, you can actually buy it separate. But if you get the Monster Loom, which I highly recommend, because that's what lets you make these bracelets. They're much thicker. Their patterns are much fancier. You're using like 4 pegs at a time, basically, to 8 pegs or 4 to 6 pegs, sorry. And it gives you much more detailed bracelets. So I highly recommend getting a monster tail. It's called a monster tail. I keep calling it a Monster Loom. I'm sorry. It's called a monster tail loom. And when you get it, it will come with some rubber bands already. It will come with the picker. I'm going to call it the picker just so you know what I'm talking about, which is basically your hook. And as you can see, this one's metal, and the handle's a lot sturdier. It's a lot heavier duty than this first one that you get with the cheap stuff. And I'll tell you, I think I got that with this loom. When my daughter and I were first figuring it out, these came in different colors. I believe this is the Wonder Loom, the more generic version. Rainbow Loom is the name brand one, and then there was at Joann's Fabrics, which is where I got these. You can see it's got your little hooks on top. So basically, when you're laying your rubber band pattern, you have it facing you in one direction, which is going to be from the the tabbed end. See how one end has a tab and the other end has a notch. And I'll explain all this stuff when we're actually making a pattern of a bracelet. But all of your looms, no matter what kind you get, they always have a notched end and a tabbed end. And the reason being is because if you see these are hooked in one direction only. So when you're laying them down, you have this tabbed end towards you. So I'm going to turn it to you guys as if you were doing it. The hooks are over on your side right now. So the rubber bands are getting laid in a pattern from that end to this end. So you're hooking them under the tab, pulling it to the next one, hooking it all the way like that. When you get to the other end, sorry, I've got it facing you, it's throwing me off. So when you get done with however your pattern is, because each bracelet, to make the different patterns, these are actually called a cascade bracelet. And depending on how you lay down the colors is what makes the pattern. So I've got bars on these and kind of a racing stripe going on there. And that's just basically, you can use whatever colors you want and wing it. It's your world. But basically I have it facing you as if you were working on it. So you would lay your bracelet, your rubber bands down in whatever pattern it calls for, which I'll explain it no matter which bracelet. For each video, I will explain exactly every step-by-step thing, but every step-by-step thing. That sounded great. But basically, you're going to be laying it always from that end, no matter which type loom you buy. And they probably have different brands by now. And then you're going to end up, when you get done laying them down, you turn it the other way towards yourself. That's the notched end. And then you're actually going to use your picker. And your picker, you're going to take it and pick the rubber band off of the hook and pull it to the next hook and pick it this way, this way, depending on the pattern. Sounds complicated. It's really not. You're just doing repetitive movements for whatever bracelet you're making. Some of them you're just going forward. I mean, they're very simple. And basically, once you get down to this end, you literally are going to grab the whole end and just, this is the funnest part. You go, and you think I'm crazy, but it sounds just like that. And you think all these rubber bands are going to snap off and pop you in your eye and like, oh gosh, I need an eye patch, but they really don't. It's actually pretty cool how it works. And there's different types of rubber bands. These are the ones I got in a big tub from Walmart. They're called Wonder Loom. Let me put this down for a second. So basically, I'm just showing you a rough estimate of stuff, and then I'll go step by step on things. So Wonder Loom is a big, giant pack. As you can see, there's 8,000 freaking rubber bands in this bucket. 2 pick tools. I guess it comes with pick tools. I didn't even realize that. Oh, there they are. Right there. A pink and a blue. And actually, I don't think they used to come with it, but that's pretty cool that they do now. So, hey, it never hurts to have an extra. So that's a brand new tub that I bought because I didn't realize that I had one that had been sitting right back here on my computer desk for the last 4 years. Well, maybe 2.5, because my daughter went to college, and that's when she gave me all her stuff. So basically, that big tub that I'm not going to open, when you get one, which I recommend because you're going to get all your rainbow colors all at one time and be done with most of it, except black is the only color, and white for some reason. And I'll tell you this, I am a huge fan. You can see what a big difference it makes to have white in your bracelets, and black in certain patterns, like the Rasta pattern right there. White for the red, white, and blue ones. Obviously, you have to have white, but for some reason, they do not include white, and they don't include black. So if you go to your local craft store, you can actually buy individual bags. They'll be hanging on the shelf, labeled for individual sale, and they'll have each color. And there's other ones that you can buy, I can tell you, at Joann's Fabrics, or Michael's has some too, but they have some very cool ones. They have glow-in-the-dark ones. They have mixed multicolor bands, like one rubber band has mixed colors all through it. They have camouflage rubber bands. I've made many bracelets with that, and I don't even think I have any that I can show you. I might be able to pull some out of the bag over there that are ready to go sell. But they make really cool patterns. You can just buy the khaki brown, you can buy the green and black if you want it, and you can make your own khaki bracelets. But they actually have bands that are khaki patterned. Halloween time was when they had the glow-in-the-dark ones. I think you can still get them, but I always stock up on black bands in the individual packs and white ones because they really make great accent, like you can see on the little Beats earbuds things there, or headphones, earbuds. I'm stuck. My brain is not working. It is now 2 a.m. So anyway, I'm going to show you everything now. Like I said, when you buy these little packets, or a big bucket here, it will come obviously with 2 pickers that I didn't know about, but it's going to come with a big package that's got each color in there. It's a pretty good amount. I've actually used some out of here, so you can see they're missing some, but that one's pretty full up. So, and it's about, that was like $9.98 at Walmart. So it's not a bad price, because for an individual bag, you're going to pay probably like 2 something. So yeah, unless you want specialty colors, I really wouldn't worry about buying them separately. I would just try to get a multi-tub like this at Walmart, or, you know, even your craft stores will have the multi-tubs. Also, on rubber bands, just so I can get this one item out of the way and we'll move to the next stuff. Your rubber bands, some people are firm believers that you must use a certain brand and you can't use the generics, and they're cheap and they break. And I can tell you this, I've used the expensive ones, I've used the cheap ones. I don't know if they consider this cheap, but I'll tell you this, these work just fine. And if I can get this many of them for $9.98, and all I have, that's 8,000 bands. Sounds like a lot, but you will go through a good amount, especially if you have a preference for a certain color. Like I love the hot pink. I use it a lot. So if you have a preference for a certain color, the only thing you have to buy is black and white. So altogether, you're going to have a full container of all the colors, and then some. You'll have extras. And I'll show you what I mean by container, because I highly recommend you get one. And it'll be all of what, maybe 12 bucks. So yeah, I would recommend doing it that way. Then don't go out and feel like you have to get top of the line bands, because your bracelet is going to look exactly the flippin' same. And people are going to look at it and they're going to go, oh my gosh, that's so cute. They don't know that you just paid double the price on the rubber bands. And honestly, they're not that much more durable in my opinion, because I've had some of them while you're working. I've had very few, and I've made hundreds and hundreds. I have made well over 800 or more bracelets. Very complex ones where you're pulling those bands as tight as they can go because of the pattern. And I have not had any more than maybe 5 that have ever gone and popped. If anything, the more dangerous thing is the little slingshot thing that I like to call it. I just did it to myself the other night. If you're, you know, pulling it and you're going to hook to the next peg, I'll show you that when we're doing a bracelet. Sometimes if you don't hook it and catch it right underneath the lip of that, it'll go right across the room. So you'll be picking up rubber bands. Just be prepared. comes with the hassle in the projects. Just saying. All right, so rubber bands aside, I've given you all that information. Don't let the salesperson talk you into having to have the top of the line. The bracelets are going to look the same. I can tell you I got top of the line ones mixed in with cheap ones right now, and I can't tell the difference while I'm working with them. All right, I don't have the boxes for these other looms. I apologize, but I'm going to show you the 3 types of looms. You have to have a loom to make bracelets. This is your cheapy one that I was telling you about, which comes with a cheapy pick. I believe it was called a Wonder Loom. I'm not downing them at all. It works fine. But I will tell you the way that their pegs are shaped with the square. If you see the height of their pegs here, this is the more expensive Rainbow Loom, the name brand one. If you look at Rainbow Loom, you have so much more height. Sorry, trying to get in front of the lens here. No, that metallic stuff in the light is not getting along. You have a lot more height on these, on the plastic pegs over here. That's the more expensive brand. That's the Rainbow Loom. And that's considered the mainstream, the original. You know, the generics, there's lots of generics, but you can see the height difference. That's why my daughter and I went right back to the store within a week and chucked this to the side and basically decided to use this. Another reason I'll show you in a second is because if you have, I don't have 2 of these at the moment, but if you say, I will explain, let me tell you something, I'll see you in one moment. Please stand by. Okay, if you see how tiny these little suckers are, they look like rings. That's because that is a single run off one loom. So if you can afford it, you may want to get 2 looms. You can connect them together. They come with these little pieces that hold them. Another thing about the Rainbow Loom, it comes apart. Like, see how I can work with a single row? So what happens is you can skip this one altogether because it's got like 6 pegs, or you can skip this one by rearranging how your rows are on here. So that's another reason that we upgraded to the Rainbow Loom. Also with Rainbow Loom, if you have 2 of these and you want to make a long bracelet, these were 1 run, and there you see how tiny they are. They're ridiculously small, so I would always use double looms to make the bracelets this size, adult size. I mean, that will fit a child. It looks really tiny, but they do stretch, but it's tight. I would prefer the adult or a child can wear it when you use 2 looms, so I would recommend getting 2 looms of whatever brand you get. Just be advised, if you get this cheaper one, you're going to be laying a loom on a table and laying another one on that tab. They do not click together and connect permanently in a good way. They may come apart while you're working, and then you got issues. We had that problem. So basically, this is why we went up to the Rainbow Loom. It is the best of the best as far as I'm concerned. And the other thing, when you're going to connect 2, my daughter left me her other one when she went to college. So basically, you take this middle piece out here, or you can take any of them out, but I'll take the biggest piece because that makes it a better connection. Good job, Jen. Way to go, Swift. I was just determined that I was going to make some noise in your ear at some point on this video tonight. You knew that was coming, right? All right, give me a second. I got to put this back. All right, sorry, I just had to get that one end piece back together, and I'm already at 20 minutes. I didn't realize it was that far in, and I don't want this video to be forever. I'll never be able to upload it. My phone is giving me issues, and the camera will not let me get the pictures off of it, or the video off of it. I'm going to have to go get a different kind of cord tomorrow. So basically what I did was just move the blue pieces around. They come like this initially. You just pop the blue piece off. I'm moving the bigger piece to the end. Doesn't matter where you move it. And then I'm just going to stick this one, notched end, tabbed end. I'm going to stick it right there, so now it becomes 1. And then, oh, no it doesn't, because you got a plastic piece in the way, Jen. Take that one out. Oh, good Lord. It is easier than I'm making it look. Keep in mind it's after 2 a.m. All right, so basically that would be your join right there. And you see I can move it around. I can carry it. If I need to go from room to room and I'm working on it, I can do that. With these two, the way they fit together precariously, you are going to be walking like you're carrying dynamite to the next room. Just saying. That's what you want to play with. All right, so that's a double one right there. The double one is going to give you bracelets. This is a cascade that came off of one loom. You see how tiny and ridiculous it looks? Now, can I put it on? Yeah, sure, because look, it stretches, but you see what the pattern looks like when I stretch it out and wear it. To put two together, you get these bracelets. And these are plenty big enough that anybody's wrist can fit in there. So I highly recommend getting 2 looms. I highly recommend doing the Rainbow Loom because it's going to give you a lot more variety. Now, quickly, this monster tail, the one we were talking about here, that makes these thicker bracelets here. Here's a smaller version I can stick in front of the camera lens. It basically gives you your zigzag kind of patterns. They're all going to be zigzag patterns, but the difference is they're going to be different thicknesses. Some of them are square shaped, some are round, some are oval. That comes off this tiny little thing. They call it a monster tail, and there ain't nothing monster about it. I laughed at this thing when I got it out of the box, but I'll tell you what, it ain't no joke. Because this one here will make some pretty cool damn bracelets. And if you look at the shape of the pegs, you can see they're notched just like the Rainbow Loom is, and that's actually made by Rainbow Loom. The only difference is you've got this weird pattern, and for most of my bracelets, I've only worked on 4 pegs at a time. Sometimes you can use 2 pegs at a time if you don't get one of these. This is called a mini loom. A mini loom is a tiny little thing. It's got 2 pegs. You're working on this peg here with the notch and that peg there. And most of you are going to wrap your rubber bands and just pick it over, pick it over, pick it over, back and forth from the bottom over. And it will also make bracelets similar to this. But they're going to be they're not going to be zigzags. They're going to be kind of more of a circular type pattern. This one makes some pretty damn cool bracelets too. It is very cheap. It comes in a kit by itself. I think it comes with some type of picker. I don't remember which one because all this stuff is in boxes over there. But this one, they say that you can avoid by just using your Rainbow Loom. And you're basically just going to use 2 pegs, any 2 pegs, whichever 2 pegs you feel like using. And you just do the same thing. You're just working on 2 pegs. So that's another advantage of buying the Rainbow Loom is that you're going to not need one of these, which is called a mini loom. Another thing from the mini loom, there's people that use 2 fingers and do the same exact pattern. My daughter was doing it that way. It looked really difficult to me because eventually it gets tight to where your fingers start to come together and you're picking and trying to go to the middle. You work in the middle. And sorry, my camera's making weird noises over there on the charger. This one actually basically is weird because it has a tube in it. So as you're working and picking these rubber bands across the top, it will make the bracelet start to drop down through the tube. And on some of the thicker ones, I noticed I just basically pull it out of the tube when you first start and just let it work its way down. The cool thing about this one, you're not limited to how long you can make something. So you can technically make necklaces if you want to. You just keep working until it's as long as you want it to be. That's the neat thing about having the mini loom. And you, I said again, you can do that on one of these. You're just going to have to use 2 pegs and ignore all the other pegs around it. But I have one of each. It was worth the investment. Monster tail, you can also do the same thing as the mini loom. You just use any 2 of these instead of using all of them. So basically, mini loom, you're working on 2 pegs. The monster tail, you're working on up to 8. I did say 8 earlier, and I thought I was wrong, and I said 6, but no, it is 8. Working on 8. You can use anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8, depending on the pattern. So that's why the monster tail gives you some variety there and some flexibility. And this one's only going to give you 2 pegs. If you get the Rainbow Loom, excuse me, the regular Rainbow Loom, which this is 2 of them together, that's one, you can do anything that you do with the mini, and you can do anything that you do with this one. So I just like having the right tool for the right job and not having to keep moving these around. So that's the fun stuff. The pickers, you can buy them individually. I highly recommend getting the sturdier metal hook than going with the plastic one. When you first start out, sure, try the freebie one. They're flexible though. They're not super flexible. They're just a little flexible, but this one is much sturdier and picks a lot easier, and the hook is a lot deeper. So that's all of the equipment that you need to make any of these bracelets, from the cuffs, the necklaces, these little headphones, all the other little weird things that I showed you, the little little flowers. I keep calling them rainbow flowers. Good Lord, Jennifer, I gotta go to bed. The little flowers that I made here that I have on my fingers. These actually went to a different project. It was a bracelet, a thick bracelet like one of these, and then the flowers got added onto it. So it has flowers all around the bracelet, so that was pretty cool. Anyway, all of your kits will come with these, which are your little connector hooks. That's what you see holding these together, because you always finish with one of these. You can either buy C hooks, which these are the C shape, or you can buy the S shape, which I have to pick one up and show it to you because I don't have them in the bag. That's an S clip. So either one will work. It doesn't matter one way or the other. Not one is not better than the other. That's a C shape. So it's your preference on that. The kits will come with them, but only so many. So you can always buy extras, and actually you will have to buy extras if you keep working. The last thing I'm going to show you, because it's going to make noise when I pick the camera up, is my box. I recommend you get one of these to hold your rubber bands. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, this is the last thing I want to show you. It is basically one of those little kits that I was talking about the other night that you can use for beads or holding any little flim-flam objects that you have. I don't know if this one has, it's called an art bin, this one in particular. Sorry, got a glare going on here because of this. This one's called an art bin. I want to say I paid around, I don't know, I always use coupons, so this was probably about an $8 or so bin, maybe $10, and I ended up probably paying half that because I have coupons that I always use. Take that out of there. This is a hot mess, and I'll tell you why. When you buy these packs that have certain colors, you are always going to run across where there's different dye lots, just like when you're using yarn or anything else. So even though all of the pack might be this fluorescent green, you'll run into a dark green in there, or 3 or 4 of them. I take them out and throw them over here on the side, just so I'm not working with a bracelet and ending up with a piece that looks different. Then again, as you're working, you're going to end up with this. These bracelets just end up mixing up, so be prepared to sort your stuff every now and then. But even with this organized container, and usually I had everyone filled to the top, and I had black and white and all my different blues here and all my greens here, and as organized as I can try to be, you can't really ever fit everything. Sorry, this gooseneck is in the way. You can't really fit everything into the box because it just can't hold everything. I mean, there's more colors than you could ever possibly fit in here. I had khaki, I had camo, I had glow in the dark, I had all kinds of stuff. So, but I highly recommend that you get one of these bins so that you can organize your rubber bands and have your colors, separated out. Be advised, if you buy these, give me 1 second, I'm going to change this around. All right, sorry, my head's going to be cut off and I had to come in the bathroom for the better lighting. I did promise to show you what I was talking about with camo and how you can make it camo colored bracelets with just mixing the khakis and the greens. They do have all different kinds of browns, all different kinds of greens. And this is one of the things I like. They have black and silver. And I've just basically mixed black, silver, and white there. So it gives you this funky looking gradient kind of thing. A negative bracelet, that's what I call that one. Anyway, so basically that is it for everything that you're going to need as far as making something. You can just get that one Rainbow Loom and it will do everything you need to do for any bracelet and any project. But it might be a little bulky and you've got pegs sometimes in your way that don't need to be there. That's why I would recommend getting the mini loom. Is super cheap. It's a couple bucks. And getting the monster tail. I think it's worth it. It really is. It makes things so much easier. And as you can see, you can do a lot with those other 2 looms. You can do the same thing with the Rainbow Loom, but it's going to just, to me, I don't like having things in the way that I don't need to mess with. So hopefully this has been a helpful video for you guys. I know it is going to be like 30 flipping minutes long, and I apologize. In the future, we're going to cut that junk down. But I wanted to make sure I showed every single thing and all the, you know, accoutrement, as my mom would say. All the different tools and accessories and things that you can choose from. But just keep in mind, oh, that's what I was going to tell you. On the Rainbow, there's some bulky bags of rubber bands, and this is another reason I recommend those bins, the art bin. And you can get smaller ones, but you can get much bigger ones. I would have gotten a much bigger one if I knew. But the reason I recommend it is if you get, at Walmart, there is like a bag that is multicolored. It has all the colors, but they're just thrown in the bag, like chiclets, just, yeah, go for it. They're in Vegas, you know, you get what you get. It will give you lots of all the colors, but you're going to spend some time when you get home separating that entire bag out. Me and my daughter did it many a day, and then we caught on to the big tub, and we're like, why did we just do all that work? And I will tell you that the bag ones, it's a big bulky bag, and it's like $3, I think, at Walmart. Good price, but you're going to do some work to separate all those different colors out when you get home before you can start working on your bracelets. And also those are the ones that I had where I think maybe 3 or 4 broke. My daughter had a few that broke while we were working on them too. So those seem to be a little bit less quality, but again, they work just fine. You'll be able to see when you're putting your rubber bands on, you'll see one that looks really thin and you just chuck it aside. You got thousands of them for real. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here because it has gone way past where I planned on it going, and it is 3 in the morning now, and I really need to get this stuff off my face. I literally only put it on to make this video. I've had no makeup on all day. So anyway, guys, like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell down there so you'll know when the next video is up for the next project. And you can jump on in, see if you want to be involved, see if it's too much for you. If you love it, you like it, whatever it is, you know, I'm not offended. I'm just putting it out there. So anyway, I will see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.